there is anything else, concerns, questions, just let me know and we could book in a call, talk about it. And more often than not, I feel like it's almost like reverse psychology in a way where the client sees that openness of discussing and it's like, oh, okay, well, I think we're good for now. Let's just see what happens here in the near future.
Welcome back, everybody, with a new episode about how to beat 90% of advertisers. We're still talking about how you can get clients through Google Ads, how you can keep clients through Google Ads and keep them happy. And this week, we're going to talk about how you can beat 90% of other advertisers and Google Ads account managers just by getting the basics right. So, one of the main things that Gene and I always talk about is being professional, being like friendly but professional, firm but fair. So when you're speaking with the clients, you don't want to have a lazy attitude kind of approach. You don't want to have that laid back kind of approach. You want to be speaking professionally and from a place of confidence and trust and things like that. But at the same time, you want to, show that friendly side because at the end of the day, you're working with that client for a reason. They've bought into you as who you are as a person, and you want to kind of be on their level essentially. So that's why I think taking that professional, firm but fair approach, have a little bit of friendliness in there can really help. Gene, how often do you speak to your clients in that kind of manner? Do you have any case studies on that? Any history?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think it's really important to be professional in the way that we communicate, but also providing friendliness, and it makes it easier for the client to be transparent with you. And I think once that transparency is there, it's easier to kind of just get things done. There's no dancing around. You're just pretty direct. I don't have a specific case study, I would say, but I think as an overall theme, for me, it's super important to just be professional and friendly, like approachable, I would say for sure.
Yeah, because you don't really know how, like a lot of the times that you'd be surprised how like account managers speak to their clients. I think I've seen certain cases where people can be quite rude and quite direct and quite forceful, and it's just completely the wrong approach because you're setting yourself up not for failure, but you're just not setting getting off on the right foot, so to speak. So I think it is important to kind of take that professional and friendly approach and also take action. I think it's important to take action and, say, okay, well, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. More than happy to schedule a phone call to answer any questions you have. That's something I always like to do, especially when I provide reports. I always say if something's not clear, if you have any questions, if you want to have a check-in, let's schedule a call. Let's get something booked in the calendar to kind of go through things. What do you see in your side? This is what I'm seeing on my side, and kind of chat about things. So I'm always liking asking for phone calls and giving people the opportunity to speak with me, because it's their account. It's their business. They want to see the results. They want to see what you've been working on. And I think transparency is really, really good. So I like to take action in that form of, saying, okay, let's book a call in. Let's see what's happening on your side. Do you ever do the same thing, or is it just me? Am I just one like asking for calls and things?
No, I think every email, if you're looking to do this, for a freelance gig or just as an agency, I think it is important to keep your emails or just your communication general open-ended in regards to asking them if they do have questions. Don't just be like, these are the statistics. Okay, goodbye. Like, leave things open-ended, and that provides more trust. It doesn't seem like you're hiding anything, even if you're having a difficult month or maybe performance is down. I think Ryan is correct with this bullet point with taking action proactively and just being like, if there is anything else, concerns, questions, just let me know and we could book in a call, talk about it. And more often than not, I feel like it's almost like reverse psychology in a way where the client sees that openness of discussing and it's like, oh, okay, well, I think we're good for now. Let's just see what happens here in the near future. So yes, I definitely agree.
And you'd be surprised as well because when you say things like that, exactly what you're saying, like clients don't really want the call. If you can show the value in the reports and you say, well, let's have a call, they say, actually, you know what? Things are going really good. We don't need a call this month. Let's push it back another month or something like that. And it can be a really good way to, build trust, build confidence because you're putting yourself out there. You're saying, let's have a call, let's get in touch and things like that. And the other thing is I like to kind of be accountable as well. I like to kind of, I don't know if it's the same for you, but I always like to say to my clients, like, look, we've had a really bad month. Like, I'll be honest, we've had a shit month. Results have been bad, or the last couple of weeks, sales have dropped off. But this is where we are. And this is what I've been doing in the last couple of weeks to kind of test things or turn things around a little bit. I think by just being like holding your hands up and just being like, look, this happened, and kind of giving them that. It's like it's a bit of a breath of fresh air rather than other agencies or freelancers who may shy away from that. They may try and sweep it under the rug a little bit and try and hide away and say, well, no, look at this. This has been good. And over the last couple of weeks, this has been up and this has increased. I think if you kind of come forward and say, look, this is what's happened, it's been bad. Are you seeing the same thing your side? Again, it builds that trust because they know you're going to report on the negatives, you're going to report on the positives, and that you're being transparent, which it all comes down to. So, have you ever told a client as well, or is it me who like tells them, hey, this has been a bad month?
Yeah, no, not too long ago. I had to kind of say, hey, we had a really record ROAS month. But I always preface a record month with saying that we'll try our best to keep it sustainable, but it's not always the case. And I saw it and I called it, and the following month was terrible. So yeah, I think Ryan is correct. Just make sure that you're just being transparent. Google Ads in nature is already a little bit fuzzy with some clients not understanding what exactly is going on in the account and how to optimize. So just providing that next level of transparency when things, like Ryan said, are good or is bad is the means the world to a client, to know that they can trust you and that you're credible.
So, like, how long do you like? How quick do you check in with clients for? Like, how frequently do you kind of check in with your clients? Is it a quick thing? Is it like, more of a longer email for maybe once a month type of thing? Are you checking in once a week? Like, tell
Yeah.
me how you kind of speak with your clients.
Right, and that's a great setup because what we want to talk about communication frequency, and I think it's really different for a lot of clients. And I think a lot of that is different because of how long you've had your client. A lot of the times, the communication frequency is almost on a weekly level. If it's someone that one hasn't had a Google Ads account, this is their first Google Ads account, we're starting from scratch, they're just getting to know me. In the first 2 to 3 weeks, I'm communicating very frequently, almost each week, perhaps even 2 to 3 days, just trying to give them an update and letting them know, hey, this is what we're working on, and this is what you can expect. And then as it progresses, it slowly becomes less and less. I have clients that I've had for over a year, 2 years, where we don't speak at all. Like sometimes is even after a month of they just see my report or whatever it may be, and they just leave me to it. So I think it really depends the communication frequency, but just in general, I do believe that earlier it is, the more that you have to communicate. What about you?
Yeah, I was gonna say to you though, if you don't speak to clients maybe 2 or 3 months, do you have that concern that maybe they're thinking something's wrong, or are you concerned that, oh no, they're gonna fire me or get rid of me because I've not heard from them in 2 or 3 months? Do you have that concern or not really?
Yeah, no, not really a concern. It's more so the concern comes when you give them your little report, screenshot, whatever, and you send the invoice alongside, and there's no invoice being filled. As long as the invoice is being filled, is my opinion that it's like a GPS where it's quiet, you're going the right direction. So I'm not really worried. What about you?
Yeah, I guess my clients have no chill because they're always emailing me or something. And, we don't have that many phone calls. Like, I'll have a few phone calls here and there, but for the most of the time, it's through email. Mostly we discuss, which is great for me because I think, when you manage expectations from the get-go, you explain, like, look, this is how it's going to go. I can provide monthly reports. We can have a phone call. I'm totally open to it. When you put yourself out there for that, like you said, I think it kind of does reverse psychology to a degree. And like, well, things are going well. We don't really need to check in. But, I usually speak to them through email as well, which means more time inside the account, which is great because it's more time inside the account rather than being on a phone call where I'm not doing anything for 30 minutes to an hour. I'm speaking to the client. So it's time away from actually managing their account, doing anything productive inside the account. I'm just speaking to them. And you could argue that's just as important, building that trust, building that relationship, of course. But at the same time, you have to question, okay, well, how much of that is necessary? Could this be done through an email? So sometimes it's one of those questions. But, for me, I try and keep everyone happy as much as I can be. I try to be as open and transparent and check in, with my clients at least probably once a week through email, I would say, just to kind of make sure that, that they're okay and share a quick win with them or show them what I'm working on or whatever it might be. So, yeah, but how do you speak to your clients like in terms of the styling and things like that? I mean, do you have a lot of questions to deal with? How does it look for you?
Yeah, you know what's funny? I actually had a client maybe 2 months ago, not no longer with us, but their mode of communication that they liked the best was through text, and I've never had that, and I quite frankly thought it was a bit invasive at first, but they were very respectful of when they text back. It wasn't like a lightning quick reply as soon as I would send the report through text, but primarily most of my clients like email. That's kind of how we would communicate. And it really does depend on the communication style or medium, if it be through text, which is very strange, or email, whatever it may be, or even some people I've seen do like Slack or Google Docs. But the communication style just really depends on the type of client that you have. Sometimes clients are super inquisitive, where they're almost wanting to learn these things for themselves, or at least it seems that way. But mind you, most of the time they're asking you these questions to see if you're competent. And I know a lot of the times us PPC managers might feel a little insulted, maybe, or whatever it may be. But I think that the best way to handle it is with grace and just answer the question as professional as possible and just give them the insights that they're asking for. And I can promise you, if it is the right client and if you vetted them previously, that will start to die down, and then the inquisitiveness will start slowly begin to fade. And you'll have clients who, like I said before, and like Ryan has said before, will want very sparse, maybe monthly communication. So, what about you? What do you have any weird communication styles that you've had or experienced before with old clients or even current clients?
No, I mean, there's a couple of things for me. I don't really like Slack personally because I feel like it's opening me up to clients 24/7. And you could say, well, it's the same as email, but if they see me live, then I could get like so many questions come through. And, it's taking me again time out of doing the actual work and answering questions than doing the work. So I don't particularly like instant messaging services with clients like Slack and things like that. I also don't really like text message or WhatsApp or anything like that. And recently I made that clear with one of my clients, and I was a little bit concerned about the response, but she was really cool and she completely understood. And the thing is that exactly what you said, Gene, it's invasive for me. I'm a family man, I have 3 kids, I have a fiance, I have a life outside of Google Ads. And, when I log out for the day, when I sign out for the day, my time is dedicated towards my children, my family life, my personal life, my friends, and things like that. So that's where I kind of draw the line. If a client wants to, text me and things like that, I try and avoid it if possible and say, look, because I'm super and I think this kind of leads into everything else is that I'm really responsive with emails. So if someone sends me an email, I'm gonna star it, and if you don't hear back from me on the same day, it's gonna be like the next day or two because I'm pretty responsive when it comes to emails. So I try and not use text or Slack or anything like that. Email is king for me. I'm always using email. I have the tab open 20, like, well, not 24 hours a day, but every time I'm doing any work on my computer, My Gmail account is always open, and I'm always responding to people that come in. So, yeah. But this is the thing. I think it's just doing the things right. I think how to beat 90% of advertisers, do get the basics right. Be professional, be friendly, be transparent, be honest with people, have a clear communication style, agree on the platform you want to speak on, and just be proactive. Don't let, you know, like bad results kind of build up, address them, be proactive and say, this is what's happened. And, this is what I'm going to fix going forward. So that would be my biggest advice is, phone calls, reports, responsiveness, professionalism. Those are the main things that I see the so many freelancers, so many agencies aren't getting the basics right. So if you can do that, honestly, I really do believe you're beating 90% of the field just by getting the basics right.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I agree. I just kind of sum this up, this whole episode up, how to beat 90% of advertisers. I think it's really about like what Ryan said, your communication. Because it is a relationship, and we've been told it doesn't matter what type of relationship it is. If you're in love with somebody, or if you're doing Google Ads client work, you have to communicate and understand how that other person in the relationship, in this case a client, would like to communicate, and the frequency of that. So yeah, I think this was a good episode. We are trying a little bit of a shorter, a little bit of a platform here, or because before it is a little bit longer, so we're trying to keep things between 20 minutes and below. And I think we're actually doing a good job. Currently we're at 16 minutes, so we're trying to provide all these points in a condensed way so it's more actionable for all our subscribers. And do you have anything else, Ryan, before I close out?
No, just to emphasize what you were saying there, I don't think, I think we recorded some really good long content and some good episodes before, but typically I don't think it's been working. And I'll put again, this is kind of following on of the theme of the episode. I'm going to put my hands up and say, I don't think what Gina and I have been doing has really been working, in the sense that how accessible have our episodes been for you? How accessible have the videos been on YouTube for you? And I don't think very, very much. So I think if we can keep our episodes and our content to a more condensed size, in terms of, like Gene says, 10 to 20 minutes, I think it's easier to watch a video that's 16 minutes long, that's 18 minutes long, rather than listen to an hour and a half of Gene and I drivel on about stuff. So I think that's where we're at right now, is we want to be mindful of that, and keep things to a minimum, and less is more. I think so. That's the new form content for the PPC Cave going forward, is that Gene and I were going to be more snappy, shorter videos, shorter content, shorter topics, but still try and provide the value. Yeah, that's it from me.
Yeah. And, again, if you have any questions, email us at theppccave@gmail.com. We release every Monday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And if there's nothing else, we'll talk to y'all next time. Bye for now.